Good to see who's there.
Okay, sure. And people are still arriving, so.
Can we put the air conditioner a bit higher?
Sure.
Does it bother you?
Yeah.
Does it bother you?
I worried that it was too cold for you earlier. Yeah.
It was a whole conversation with the air conditioner without anybody's. I know. That's waiting. Exactly.
It's nice and warm here today, so we're enjoying a bit of air conditioning.
Suzette.
Suzette, I don't see Suzette yet. I wasn't paying attention if she came this morning. Don't see that yet, although here she comes. Okay, so it is 1:30, 1:31. So we'll gradually ease into our session this afternoon. Something that I've forgotten, so I have to check. Yes, okay, we will run until 3 o'clock. Yes, I knew that. So we have an hour and a half. Speak louder for people in the room. Okay. So we're calling this a retreat because we're doing it 2 days and also 4 sessions over the course of 2 days. So from the perspective of a retreat, today we had commentary. So we've learned a little bit about how to practice this, what is it and how to practice it. And so today, this afternoon, the focus will be more on giving it a try and on trying to implement this to gain perhaps a bit of experience. And then questions and answer on experience and how to go about doing this. But that's not going to stop me from saying a few little things to start with. So we will do the sessions with the Guru Yoga. We'll do it with the Shakyamuni Buddha practice. I'm going to base this afternoon off of Lama Yeshe's Mahamudra book, which our literature circle went through late last winter and into the spring. So and I was actually delighted to hear Geshe talking about concentration, which relates to our literature circle book we're doing right now, which is His Holiness and Thupten Chudran's book on following in the footsteps of the Buddha from their Library of Wisdom Compassion, which goes into great depth on the stages of meditation. You know, the 9 stages, the 4 dhyanas, some fascinating things. Anyway, so we did go through Lama Yeshe's Mahamudra book recently. So I'll even be doing some screen shares from that book. As some of you may know, Lama Yeshe had the capacity, because he was completely gone beyond himself, gone beyond any kind of preconception, gone beyond perhaps any limitation. He was able to convey the essence, and he worked hard at conveying the essence. So I know people who had direct tastes of Mahamudra from studying with Lama Yeshe. And so his book, even just this book, conveys a sense of experience. So I highly recommend reading this book of Mahamudra. I put it in the chat this morning. I still have it open, so maybe I'll do that in the break. So because this is a practice session, we will take the approach of the recommended approach for easing into retreat. So we're not going to have one 90-minute session. We'll do 3 short ones. Well, they're going to have to be short. And so the idea is, the recommendation is, when you're easing into retreat, you start with many short sessions. And so you give yourself a break in between. So that's our approach today. One of them will be also a walking Mahamudra meditation. So I'll say more about that. This will be the middle one, will be our walking Mahamudra. So the first one, what Lama Yeshe mentions in his text to get started is we want to be able to observe the mind. So as Geshe was saying this morning, there are two approaches to realizing reality, the realizing the nature, the ultimate nature of reality, and even the conventional nature of reality. One of them is through a great deal of study and analysis, and then to enter into calm abiding on the outcome of the analysis. The other one, which is the second type, which is what Geshe mentioned and what we'll be doing this afternoon, is discovering emptiness from meditating on the mind. So there is still analysis in play, particularly, I guess you could say throughout, but it's not a detailed analysis on all the tenets, the different schools of expressing emptiness and developing a valid cognition of that and then meditating on that. Not that way. Instead, we meditate on the mind. And as one gains a very clear and continuous concentration on the nature of the mind, then you apply a very gentle sort of analysis of emptiness upon that. But it's done in a almost a kind of relaxed way. The image, and maybe Geshe will mention this later, is when you have a stable concentration on the nature of your own mind, your mind is like an ocean. It's still and vast and clear. And so you don't want to intrude on that with a intense analysis on the nature of reality. Instead, you want to be able to introduce a kind of an analytic introspection on the nature of the mind and its ultimate reality without causing a ripple. So the image is like a very small minnow that can swim through the water. So our introspective analysis is like that, without disturbing our concentration on the nature of the mind. But before we can find the nature of the mind and meditate on it, the first thing we'll do for our first session is practice a method to start to reduce the projections that Geshe mentioned earlier in the morning session, to start to step away from our continuous and reflexive and reactive relationship with the content of our mind, right? So most of the time, our senses are giving us all kinds of information, and we're taking our sense information and composing reality on that, and then we're reacting to those appearances, continuously reacting to those appearances, judging them, feeling they're good or bad, pleasant, unpleasant, or not, and continuously being overwhelmed with the content of our mind. So in order to develop an experience of the nature of our minds, we have to be able to stop, to actually not be overwhelmed by the content of our mind, and not to even engage in the content of our mind. And so that will be our first meditation practice. And this is done by developing a neutral perspective to what's happening in our mind. So first step would be to develop a sense that we can watch what's going on in our mind. So just watching. So we have this kind of, we find a place in our mind, of course this is still our mind, but we find a place where we have some stability, and then we can just watch what's happening. And if you could say that there was so you could call this an open awareness, where we're not trying to control, we're not developing a concentration on a particular object. Instead, we're just letting our mind relax. If you wanted to say there was an object of concentration, it would be this maintenance of a neutral regard to what's going on in the mind. The sense that I don't need to react. I can just let whatever is happening in my mind be. And what we'll find when we do that is it's a continuous stream of projections, of constructions, of sense experience, and also of memory, that our mind is very busy. And this is what Geshe was saying, is when we start with this, we may actually become discouraged because it seems that the situation is getting worse. It's just because we're becoming more aware as we start to observe what's going on. So the main focus in this is to maintain this neutrality, to allow whatever is going to be coming up in our mind to be there in our mind without judgment, without chasing it, without pushing it away. And Geshe mentioned also not being preoccupied with memories of the past or with plans for the future. So this is a meditation that is done in the present moment only. Of course, we'll do a little bit of, we'll do the 7 limb prayer and the meditation on Shakyamuni Buddha and reciting the mantra as our preparation. So then, we're concentrating on the future, our, bodhicitta, our plans to become fully awakened to benefit all sentient beings. And also, you could say our future relating to Shakyamuni Buddha as our future enlightened self. So this kind of Guru Yoga that became revealed this morning is very beautiful. That we have this potential, but we are unaware. We can't really notice it or experience it because it's a mere latency. But by creating a relationship with a perfect example, the fully awakened Buddha, and seeing this as also our own future, our own potential, which can manifest as we develop a relationship with this, our potential, through making requests, making offerings, and so forth. Yeah. So let's get started then. So I'm going to share the screen of the book of Lama Yeshe's, and in case we're not entirely familiar with the mantra of Buddha Shakyamuni, it's here in the text. Right. So Lama Yeshe also mentions doing the 9-round breathing meditation. We won't do that. Maybe we'll do that next tomorrow. So I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to read it out, but you can also follow along if you wish. Okay, so we'll start by just by doing a bit of breathing meditation. As usual, the idea here is we want to collect our energies into this place where we are, which is our body. And breathing isn't anywhere else but right here in our body. So this allows us to collect our energies here. Where we focus is where our energies come to. So we focus here on our breathing. We collect our energies, which may be scattered from running around. And also we're going to collect our awareness into the present moment, because our breathing isn't in the past and it's not in the future. It's only right here. It's only right now. So we'll use our breathing to collect ourselves into the here and now. So consistent with our way we'll be meditating in a few moments on neutrality, we can also apply this method now to our focus on breathing, in that naturally the mind will continue to present to our awareness other things than our feeling of breathing. But we don't have to chase them away. We just let them be without giving them any weight or any attention. So we don't have to be concerned about what else may be happening in our mind. We just have to continually remind ourselves that what we have chosen to do is to maintain a continual focus on our breathing. Anything that comes up, we just don't give it any mind. Great. Okay, so now we'll shift our focus to a visualization of Buddha Shakyamuni in the space in front of us. You can imagine the teaching throne supported by 8 Bodhisattva snow lions, the lotus, sun, and moon, and the Buddha seated upon that, his body made out of golden light. Made out of light helps us to recognize that reality, and the Buddha also knows that reality isn't as solid as it appears. In our visualization, also, this is not like visualizing a tanka. We understand and feel, imagine and feel that the Buddha is really here in front of us. And although that may be a kind of a overwhelming and awe-inspiring sort of thing to imagine, we also feel completely comfortable. We get a sense from the Buddha that we're all right, that everything's fine. He's gazing back at us with a completely accepting, peaceful, loving kindness. And by way of an informal refuge, feeling like we are sitting with the Buddha, almost like if we're in a pleasant cafe, and across from the table from us was the Buddha, and we're having a friendly conversation. We feel like we can say anything we want to say or need to say, and the Buddha is listening to us like a good friend. So whatever concerns, whatever obstacles, whatever we're searching for and would like to experience, and how we'd like to become in our own minds, in our own language, imagine having a conversation with the Buddha, sharing our deepest wishes and fears in a very safe and comfortable way. We'll do that for a moment. we'll also do this formally, but experientially, by bringing to mind these 7 practices of the 7 limbs. The first one is prostration, which in our mind, prostration means having an appreciation for the qualities of the fully awakened mind and for the activities of the fully awakened body. So again, thinking that we are seated just in front of a perfect example, and just bringing to mind how much we value the qualities of the Buddha. This is a mental prostration. And then a verbal prostration is saying these out loud. And usually this means in a form of a praise. Like how awesome you are, or something, whatever. We're not, we're not going to do a lot of praise as text. We don't have that. But just think of this as, whatever we say as a praise, this is a verbal prostration. And then physical prostration can be just holding our hands folded in front of our heart. So for a moment, I prostrate to you, the Buddha, with my body, speech, and mind. And the Buddha patiently and encouragingly receives our prostration. And then we make offerings to the Buddha. Like having a special guest, we like to have a clean place to invite the Buddha, and we'd like to make offerings. So following in the tradition of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, whatever we have set out, but also we can imagine all the offerings made in all the Dharma centers and then other, practitioners' homes. All of these have the nature of uncontaminated, infinite bliss, which we offer to the Buddha, feeling that the Buddha is also our teacher, our guru, and is the coming together of all objects of refuge. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche would sometimes encourage us to think like a mantra: prostrate, offer, generate infinite great bliss in the mind of Guru Buddha. Prostrate, offer, generate infinite great bliss. 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 And make offerings both set out and imagined. Then we do a confession practice. I confess all my wrong deeds from beginningless time. So I don't know if this has happened to you, but sometimes in the presence of a great holy being, we want to share our life story. And we will sometimes in the presence of overwhelmingly positive qualities like that, and we measure ourselves against this, and we see how we have so far to go, and we also think of the mistakes we've made and how we are burdened with the weight of past mistakes, and we'd like to set that down, so we can think now we have this opportunity. So we lay bare completely everything we feel that we've done wrong, or mistakes we've made, or weaknesses we have that we'd like to change. We come clean. And the Buddha continues to regard us with this peaceful, accepting, loving kindness. And we rejoice in the virtue of all holy and ordinary beings. How amazing, how wonderful. Even our own virtue, for we must have done something quite special in the past to be here right now, to have done what we've done so far, and to be able to continue to do what we are going to do. Please stay until samsara ceases. So here we can offer an indestructible teaching throne. Wishing, the essence of this is cultivating a mind wishing never ever to be separated from the Buddha, from the Guru Buddha, in this life and in all future lives. And with this heartfelt wish, we offer an indestructible teaching throne. And please turn the wheel of Dharma. So the essence of this mind is a request, but we're also telling ourselves that we are now ready to have the Dharma change us. We're ready to listen and to contemplate and to be changed and to emerge from all of our suffering. And so we can imagine offering a 1,000-spoke Dharma wheel, not only for ourselves, but for all sentient beings to receive the teachings of the Buddha. And then we dedicate all of our merits to our own and the full awakening of all sentient beings. Okay, so now having done that visualization, the 7 limbs, we can do a brief visualization of purification according to Lama Yeshe. So we imagine rays of light from the Buddha, white rays of light from the Buddha, coming to our crown and completely filling our body, speech and mind with white light. This primarily purifies our body. Rays of red light coming from the throat of the Buddha, the speech of the Buddha, entering our throat, purifying our body, speech, and mind with red light, but primarily our speech. And then blue light rays coming from the Buddha, entering the level of our heart, filling our entire body, speech, and mind with blue light, purifying primarily our mind. And then we'll recite the mantra of the Buddha, which is here. We'll do this only 7 times, but we'll do it slowly. And then we'll imagine the Buddha dissolving into us. Jayata Om Mune Mune Mahamudra Swaha. Jayata Om Mune Mune Mahamudra Swaha. Jayata Om Mune Mune Mahamudra Swaha. Jayata Om Mune Mune Mahamudra Teada mune mune Mahamudra Swaha. Teada mune mune Mahamudra Swaha. Teada mune mune Mahamudra Swaha. Now we imagine that the Buddha blesses us by becoming smaller, coming to the top of our head, and then dissolving to light, which showers down into us like rain falling into a lake. To feel that the Buddha enters our heart, and we meditate on the truth that there's no way to distinguish between the ultimate nature of our own mind and the ultimate nature of the Buddha's mind. Mhm. Our mind and the mind of the Buddha is indistinguishably one. And this is a feeling of great spaciousness, peace, and clarity. Here, Lama Yeshe would also encourage us to relax into this experience. So now, feeling like the Buddha is with us, we shift our focus to allowing the mind to experience whatever it will experience. And our job now is not to engage with that content of our mind, but to maintain a neutral acceptance. We accept whatever appearance, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, without chasing it away or chasing it down, chasing after it. We just allow it to enter onto our awareness, and then we release it, and whatever is our next experience, the same. So we just observe this stream of awareness with a neutral, with a non-engaged, neutral perspective. Doesn't matter how bad it is, it's just content of our mind. We don't have to react. Doesn't matter how wonderful it is, it's just content in our mind, and we let it go. We may find our mind engaged in reflection on the past or plans for the future. So ask from yourself permission not to have to reflect on the past or plan for the future during this meditation session. We seek permission from ourselves to let go of the past and the future. An example can be that our mind is like the sky, vast, calm and clear, and there are clouds which are content of our mind. We don't need to become preoccupied with the clouds, with whatever sensations, thoughts. Instead, we want to be aware of the sky. The sky allows any kind of weather. We allow everything that's content to come and go in the sky consciousness of our mind. Another example is our mind is an ocean, vast, calm ocean. And yes, there may be ripples on the surface, or even sometimes big waves, but we don't have to engage in the waves. They're just on the surface. They come and go. Here in the depths of the ocean, it's very calm. And we don't have to be carried away by the waves. We can let them come and go. Sometimes we, despite our preparation, may become overwhelmed with a piece of content. So then we can return to breathing meditation to regain a stability and a calm. We can also think that the Buddha is here with us and connect again with our awareness of the Buddha and ask for help from the Buddha. So the goal of this meditation practice is to allow content of the mind to settle down. When we don't add energy to the content of our mind by chasing it or chasing it away, our mind becomes more and more peaceful, more and more clear. So we start to become aware of the mind is the sky rather than the content. The mind is the ocean rather than the waves. But we don't chase this experience either. We just let it reveal itself to us. So we will practice this for another few minutes. Our concentration is on neutrality, or if you start to gain a feeling for the vast, open clarity of our mind, like the sky or like the ocean, then we ease into that experience without grasping at it. as we ease into this experience of clarity of mind, vast open clarity of the mind, as content of the mind falls away, we may even start to feel like we're falling asleep, because it's a bit like that, but we don't allow ourselves to lose consciousness, to maintain an awareness, even of this very simplified, vast clarity. We maintain a continuity of awareness, of consciousness. So again, letting go of whatever is the content, however nice it is or troubling it is. It's just mere content to the mind, like a cloud in the sky or a wave on the ocean. We are not the content of our mind. If anything, we are more like the sky or the ocean. And if we don't know what's happening, we feel a bit lost with what's going on in our mind, we can always connect again to the Buddha as our foundation. And nothing would make the Buddha happier than for us to recognize that our own nature is indistinguishable from the nature of the Buddha's mind. And we can completely rely on that. Once we've developed some familiarity with being neutral to the content of our mind, and the mind starts to reveal its nature, a metaphor for this experience is the mind is a mirror. The mind is not what is reflected in the mirror. The mind is the mirror itself. And if there was nothing there to be reflected in the mirror, what does the mirror reflect? It reflects its own nature. This mirror of our mind is something that is beyond this life. It is beyond the content that it reflects. And as we come to see ourselves as this mirror only, we gain freedom from the reflections, from the content. We take one step forward towards emerging from the overwhelming experiences of the content of our mind by holding to this neutral perspective towards the content of our mind, not giving the content of our mind any energy, instead watching for the nature of the mind to emerge in the gaps between the content. Allow our mind to reveal its own nature, to reflect only its own nature, and not any other piece of content. So as we bring this meditation session to a close, we'll recite the mantra Buddha Shakyamuni again 3 times, and then offer a dedication. Yata mune mune Mahamudra sa. Yata mune Mahamudra sa. Yata mune Ma. And we dedicate whatever goodness, whatever virtue, whatever experience we've had from this morning or this afternoon so far to going beyond, this circle of mistake that we call ordinary existence, to becoming and to completely experiencing our own potential, that of becoming a fully awakened being. So we dedicate this to something beyond our current, what appears to be an inherently existing self, beyond that. The recognition of our fully awakened self. And consistent with that also, as the fully awakened mind directly perceives and understands and is engaged with every sentient being, we imagine offering whatever we've collected here of benefit as a beautiful gift, imagining going beyond the seeming constraints of time and space to offer to each sentient being here and now our own virtue, that all sentient beings may become fully awakened. Okay. So that's it for the meditation. But before we take a break, I think it can be quite helpful to do a debrief. If anybody has an experience or a question or a comment or a reaction, we can talk about it and see if as a group we can make sense of it. So, or we can just chill and hang out together. We have, there are 5 of us here in the room here. Go ahead, Dekiri.
Are we doing a walking meditation now?
Yeah, we'll do one. It is now 2:30, which means we're at the 1/3 mark. I thought we'd take a little break. Let's say 10 minutes, and then we'll do a 20-minute walking meditation.
Except 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Really?
Yeah.
We start. Oh, so that was a whole hour. My goodness.
That wasn't a short one.
That wasn't a short one. I got carried away.
There's Dave.
Something that happens. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, let's do a. But I think it'd be beneficial still to see if there's any comments or questions or reactions that we can help each other with if we want to do that, and then we'll do only a second meditation, which will be a walking meditation.
So do you want us to stay for the next half hour and then take a break?
No, I think what we'll do is let's say we'll give 5 minutes to discussion if we have that, and if not, then we'll just take a 5-minute break, and then we'll convene with a walking. But I wanted to give a little bit of context for the walking meditation before we start that. How did that go for folks? Was there anything they liked? Anything you didn't like? It's good. Thumbs up. All right. Any comments?
Breathing was good.
Breathing was good. Yeah. Going back to breathing. Yeah. Sometimes it'll happen where a bit of karma takes hold of you and you can't shake it, and so you need to go back to finding some stability. Yeah. That's happened to me. Go ahead, Anna.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much. That was so refreshing.
Ah,
And it was nice to hear, from a different voice, somebody familiar, slightly different language.
yeah.
But with your meditation today, Dave, I found I quite intensely, my mind wanders. I create stories. In one scene, I was talking to you about the name of that place, Scotland and Wales. We've got that that little chat we had, but it's so intense with me.
Uh-huh.
I have had it I've noticed this with my mind before. And also it's so powerful that depending on what mood I'm in, what document, I can read it negatively. I can read it an hour later and oh my gosh, it's quite positive. So yeah, it was nice to see maybe some reflections of my mind in that mirror. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And as Geshe said this morning, that we can start to see just how busy and intense our mind can be. And this practice, because without hearing it, like we heard this morning, we don't have a chance. But even having heard it only once, we're not going to make much progress. So it does take a lot of practice. And so when our mind is really busy, don't be upset by that. Don't think, oh, I can't meditate. Instead we just watch it. That's our only job in this particular style of meditation, is just to sit back and watch it, and without giving it any extra energy. Go ahead, Kedrup. Oh, I think your mic is on. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Kedrup? Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dave. I also really liked your approach to the meditation. It gave me some things to think about. And I was left with the question of, where is the findable mind apart from our thoughts? And I thought that if I can answer that question, maybe that means that I've understood what Mahamudra is. That's what I came away with.
It's a bit like when you ask if the mind is like a mirror, and there's nothing in front of the mirror to reflect, then what does what is there to reflect then? It's almost like a koan, that one.
Do I need the mic or?
I think there's somebody, Emily wants to mention something.
I was just updated, I thought towards the end of it, like, this is something that I'm glad it's being recorded so that I can come back to it.
Yeah, yeah. My gosh, did I stream that? I think I forgot to stream that. Array. Well, we'll have to record one then.
Bummer. Make sure to record it tomorrow.
Oh, this one, no, I forgot to hit the
And you
stream
didn't
button.
record it, like it's not uploadable either. You didn't.
No, I didn't record it. No, I
Oh,
didn't record
bummer.
Shucks.
But it went to restream, automatically.
And I have to hit the go to restream. My apologies.
I usually remind you. I should have
Yeah.
reminded you, I guess, because we had lunch.
And also because I was, usually when I'm leading a book club session, such as, this was a lot like a book club session. We don't stream it, so I forgot. My apologies to all those, but maybe I will record something like this. Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Oh, did you? Excellent. Okay, brilliant. That's really kind. Thank you. Practically, yeah.
Something I experimented for the first time was sticking my dorje on my head. Anybody saw me kind of, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. It's a really, really good little thing, just sticking something somewhere that's going to fall as soon as you dip.
Yes. What works for me is a prayer wheel. I've got a prayer wheel going, and when I start to fall asleep, the prayer wheel goes like this, and then I wake up.
Okay. I don't want to be moving, man. I just kind of like, okay. Oh, okay. That was a really good suggestion.
Yeah. Okay, so before I do our any other comments before we talk about a walking meditation? Okay.
Make sure you do record the walking meditation.
Okay.
Just thank you, Dave. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, great. So with the walking meditation, what we want to do with this, our object of focus is so we're going to assume that we have a taste that our mind is like a mirror. And so then we want to engage with what we sense, like vision or feeling of our bodies or hearing or feeling the breeze as a reflection. So we have to assume or imagine or pretend that we have this depth of clarity in our mind that is like a perfect mirror, and that everything is just a mere reflection on the surface of our mind. And we can also take that one step further, that everything is a mere reflection of the empty nature of our mind. So as we walk, everything that we see, you can also say, just remind yourself like a mantra, merely labeled by the mind. But what is this mind? It's just a mirror. The mind is utterly clear, pure, vast. And what the mind does is it reflects. So everything, as we walk, all experience that we have in our minds as we're walking, and so we're walking with mindfulness, everything is the mere reflection of the empty nature of our mind. So when we say empty nature of the mind, I'm sure Geshe will talk more about this tomorrow morning. Our mind doesn't exist inherently. Our mind is something that arises due to causes and conditions. It arises on the basis of the previous moment of mind. And so it is something that is not independent. It is a dependent arising. And since it is dependent, that means it doesn't have an independent nature. It is empty of inherent existence, even the mind. So again, everything is, as we do our walking meditation, you could say like a mantra, everything is merely labeled by the mind, or everything is a mere reflection of the empty nature of the mind. So this helps us to maintain this, to continue to maintain this neutral regard with regard to everything that we're sensing and seeing. It's just merely labeled. It's just a reflection of the empty nature of our mind. Any questions about that? Okay. So we did this one time with Hamza Ramshay at Middle River Center in Vermont. We're in the middle of a Mitupa Buddha retreat, and somebody must have had something happening, because Rinpoche, instead of doing a session, he told us that we should do a walking meditation, and we actually went onto the highway outside of the retreat center, walked down a little bit of a hill, and then onto a reasonably quiet stretch of highway, and just looked at everything around us like it was merely labeled or a reflection of the empty nature of our mind. So that's our next meditation. And then I guess we'll do that for, let's say, 10 minutes until 2:52. Yeah, so I'm not going to record that, because that's, I'm just going to be saying, everything's a reflection of the empty nature of mind, right? So we can do that ourselves. And then we'll come back and do a final debrief. Okay, so back in 10 minutes. I'll leave the screen on, but we've got a bit of a nice backyard here, so we'll just walk around in the circle out there for that. See you soon.
Yeah, yeah. Did you leave it outside on the table? Did you leave it on the couch? I saw you with it. I saw you with it. It's like kind of gray.
I don't know if musician sound is on or off. That's
Yeah, sometimes like if your computer isn't used to having it on, sometimes you
Yeah.
can't find it.
okay. So we're back. So any comments or experiences anyone would like to share? Yes. Hi, Chris. You're on mute.
I think that's okay now.
Yep.
Yeah. I understand what we're trying to do, and I can work into that. But then I stand and think, feeling the air on my skin, looking at the variety of leaves, smelling the roses, you could say, it seems such a shame not to use those senses to appreciate what you're trying to reject.
Yeah, so I think it's certainly that's a nice thing to do, but we're trying to achieve a specific outcome here, and it's not to reject, because reject is an energy as well, right? So we don't want to give weight, because what we're trying to do is similar to Dekuli's question this morning, which is how do we bring Mahamudra into experience off the cushion? And so, in a sense, I'm reminded of a story in a book by Thich Nhat Hanh where he describes somebody who he's having a conversation with somebody, and they're eating oranges, and this fellow ate his orange and then realized that he didn't even experience it because he was thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So by practicing mindful walking, perhaps we experience more clearly what it is that's going on, and then so we may actually have a feeling of appreciation. And I experienced that as well. It's like, oh, this is lovely. Oh, the sun is warm. Isn't that lovely? Or these flowers are beautiful. Isn't that lovely? But the outcome we're trying to achieve with this during this particular period of time as a meditation is to train our mind in not giving weight to sense information, because what we want to do is to develop an experience of a deeper level of the nature of our mind. So this is an exercise.
Yeah, because we are sense beings.
Yes.
It is a very good practice. If you can overcome those, not to be pulled in, then you are starting to train your mind.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, because what we're looking for is complete freedom. And so this is the first step in a progression of steps that can bring us complete freedom. And so what this means is also not being enraptured by appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Emily.
I also saw some bees going to different flowers, and it reminded me of impermanence.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, we can bring Lamrim topics into that, which isn't bad, but as a dedicated practice to develop a familiarity with this one thing is any thoughts, any concepts, or even any reactions are it's not what we're trying to do in this particular type of meditation. Yeah. So we see bees, we go bees, and then we try to go back to an awareness of this as just being a reflection of our mind. Yeah, the kitty.
What I was playing with, tend to go to a lot. I don't even know if it's just right there, but is just so. What was new today was the mirror-like idea, playing mirror, but is looking at something and it's not. It's just merely labeled on the parts and the causes and stuff. So it's just imagining it dissolving itself into all its particles, and that's a piece of paper. Oh, it's just an image of Lama Zopa. Oh, it's just actually a bunch of particles. Oh, it's a bunch of atoms. So it's kind of like, all right, well, glad they came together for a little while. Just having relationships with things coming together and a whole bunch of particles turning themselves into things. Anyway, that was my play for the day.
Right. It's almost like giving ourselves a chance to observe our mind. Then it allows our mind to bring its wisdom into play, right? About dependent arising, about impermanence, and which again is fine. But even that you could say is a distraction from the purpose of Mahamudra, which is as a first step is to recognize the nature of the mind. And so to observe the mind. So this book that Kedra mentioned this morning, Mind Seeing Mind. So this is Mahamudra. So you don't want to have your mind seeing stuff. You want your mind to see itself. And so this is a way to develop some familiarity or to exert some, you might say, control or some choice about how we engage with sense objects or even conceptual objects, thoughts, and so forth, as trying to follow this particular type of meditation.
Is it a case of, because again, going back to the senses, it's if we're using the senses, we're using the, what do you call it, rough mind,
coarser minds.
Coarser mind, that's the word. So we're using the coarser mind. So in the meditation we were trying to just do, we're trying to shut that down really so that you can access the subtle mind.
Yes. Yeah, we're trying to not give the coarse mind any weight. You can't really shut it down, especially if you're walking around with your eyes open, right? It's gonna happen.
Dangerous.
Yes, exactly. But we don't want to give it any weight, And so it's a way of doing what Dekili was asking about. How do we, if we've had a good experience in meditation, where we've seen and had a better experience of the nature of our mind, how can we bring that into doing the things we have to do off the cushion? And that would be trying to maintain. In Lama Yeshe's book, he actually mentions that the sense consciousnesses are seen as thieves. They if we give them weight, they will steal from us an opportunity to go deeper.
Yeah.
Dave, maybe you could tell the story of Khandrila.
Oh yeah.
Someone asked her.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah. So Khandrila, probably most of you are aware of who she is. She was giving a teaching at Tushita, and somebody asked her, what did she like to do to relax? And so her answer was, well, there's only two things that are important to me in my life: bodhicitta and emptiness. So I don't relax. I don't go on to the edge of a beach and pretend I'm a fish. That's not what I do. That's so it's the only thing that are of interest to me are emptiness and bodhicitta. However, she said, if you can withdraw your mind from engagement in the sense consciousnesses, this is deeply relaxing. So I think that's a Mahamudra kind of answer there. Yeah, as Manoshi was pointing out. So it is 3:03. I know some people have plans to go elsewhere starting about now, and this is our official wrap-up time. So let's dedicate again to becoming fully awakened. Again, thinking of emptiness, so that this merit, this goodness, can never be destroyed by our delusions. We send it beyond the seeming inherently existing self. We send it beyond towards our potential to become fully awakened. So, quoting Lama Zopa Rinpoche, dedication due to the past, present, and future merit created by me, by numberless sentient beings, and by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May this I, which is empty from its own side, let's say merely labeled by mind, attain the state of fully awakened Buddha Shakyamuni, which is merely labeled by the mind, in order to lead all sentient beings who are merely labeled by the mind, the mere reflection in the mind, the empty nature of the mind, to the state of full awakening, which is a mere reflection in the empty nature of the mind. Even if I have to do all of this by myself alone, which is a mere reflection in the empty nature of my mind. Savior of the Snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who, I've forgotten it now. Savior of the Snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who extensively clarifies the, hey, oh boy, oh boy. Now I have to say it out loud. Is it right here? Okay, thank you. Maybe I'll just say it quickly. Savor the Snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who extensively clarifies the path of the unification of emptiness and compassion. To the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all of your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You uphold the subduers Morray, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjuna's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishers magnificent prayers honoring three jewels. Savor myself and other disciples. Lama Kyabji Lama Zopa Rinpoche emanation, please quickly return in the most capable and brilliant way.
Ask for that person's recording.
Oh yeah, so I did send Alex my email address, so I can I will post that. Thank you so much, Alex. Cheers. See you tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Hey, Kimberly. Bye bye.
Bye.